for years while you were dating, you said that you had relationships with abusive men. One man stole all your jewelry. I mean, you really know how to pick them.
I know. If there's a loser in any town,
You would have found him.
I used to find him.
I want to run through a few things that have happened to you over the last few years because it's quite amazing.
Is the show long enough?
Well, I'm just going to read it.
Is the show going to be long enough for this?
It's going to take me half the time just to read this. You witnessed...
You're going to have to edit some of this out.
Good evening. It's Oscar night again, and it's our 21st Academy Award Night special. And are we happy about our guests? Here's why. We have arguably the most successful movie star in the world today, Tom Cruise. Yes, I asked him about his divorce from Nicole Kidman. Yes, I asked about Penelope Cruz. And yes, I asked him to clear up some of those other rumors you've all heard about. Then the woman who could be the first African-American to ever win the Oscar for Best Actress, the gorgeous Halle Berry. She tells us of her long, hard climb of abusive men, a father she can't forgive, a much publicized automobile accident, and how all this has shaped her. Then this year's most exciting female television star who just won a big award, the Golden Globe, the delightful Sarah Jessica Parker. She tells us, among other things, all the things she won't do on Sex and the City, and why she never mentioned her husband, Matthew Broderick, when she won that big award. So it's quite a night. Stay with us.
The Barbara Walters Special
is always looking after your nest egg.
Victoria's Secret introduces Body by Victoria. Full coverage. All new. Full coverage, full support. Body by Victoria. All you see is curves.
Walters Special will continue in a moment with Halle Berry and Tom Cruise here on ABC.
This Wednesday, Lopez is coming.
Call me G-Lo.
That's George Lopez.
Cold.
The reason I'm here, so you can say goodbye to your son.
The movie is Monsters Ball, and it can be tough to watch.
What happened?
I met your daddy.
Listen, let's get out and talk to me. Don't.
With vicious racism, brutal violence, and graphic sex.
Make me feel good.
It also has a heartbreaking, career-altering performance by Halle Berry. Nominated tonight for Best Actress. She was named after Halle Brothers Department Store in her hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. Halle was the product of a white mother and a black father, but Dad was abusive and split early on, leaving Mom to raise a stunningly beautiful young woman who was determined to prove herself to the world.
A brown-eyed brunette, Halle Berry is 18 years old.
To prove herself, she became the first black Miss Teen All-American.
Halle Berry, ladies and gentlemen.
Then first runner-up Miss USA.
Don't push on me.
To prove herself, she begged director Spike Lee for the role of a crackhead in his film Jungle Fever, even though she was considered too pretty and inexperienced for the part.
You what? Get off from me!
$5. All right, $3.
You think I've never been to the South?
To prove herself, she beat virtually every female black superstar in Hollywood to the punch and made the TV movie introducing Dorothy Dandridge.
This isn't a tan, Earl. I'm a Negro.
The story of the first African-American ever nominated for a Best Actress Oscar.
If we're going to work together, you can't tiptoe around me. You have to say it straight out.
And the Emmy goes to Halle Berry, introducing Dorothy Dandridge.
Nothing has come easy, but Halle is particularly adept at finding silver linings.
Thank you so much.
For example, after an ugly divorce from baseball player David Justice, she finds love and happiness with R&B star Eric Benet. After leaving the scene of a serious car crash 2 years ago, she pleads no contest, pays a fine, does community service, and then drastically changes her career choices for the better.
Line it up, baby! Hey!
If Halle Berry wins tonight, she will make history as the first African-American ever to take home an Oscar for Best Actress. A bit much? Yeah. Win or lose, she no longer has to prove herself. I tell you, it's you. What were your dreams when you were a little girl? What did you want for yourself?
I wanted to make a lot of money just to really better the quality of life for my family, especially my mother.
Not be famous, just make a lot of money?
Yeah, no, not be famous.
Not be an actress?
Never be an actress.
Never be an actress?
No. I thought, what can I do that'll make a lot of money so that one day I can buy my mother a house? You know, a big fancy house. That's what I wanted to do for my mother. I felt very much like we were a burden to her when we were young.
Did you buy your mother the big house?
I did.
Let's talk about your childhood. Your father was black. Your mother was white. Do you remember when you first knew there was this difference?
Yeah, I think probably when I was in the 3rd grade. And it was from another kid at school who had gotten a glimpse of my mother and told me that she couldn't possibly be my mother because had I noticed that she was white and I wasn't, that maybe I was in fact adopted, that this really couldn't be my mother.
It's very interesting because even though your mother was white, she said to you, you're not half white and half black, you're black. Why did she do that?
Because she knew that in America, that is how I would be perceived, and I would be discriminated against as a black woman, and so she wanted to prepare me and not have me living with any delusions.
Halle, your father was abusive. In what ways was he abusive?
Well, he was an alcoholic, so right then and there, you know, that lends itself to not only verbal abuse, but a lot of physical abuse, and especially towards my mother. And then later on in life, he came back to live with us when I was like maybe 10 years old. And this time, he started to not only abuse my mother, but my sister, our dog, and I just wished he would go.
And he finally went?
He finally, yeah. My mother finally said enough is enough. And
did you ever reconcile with him? No.
The day that I got divorced, first time, when I was married the first time, and I so blamed it on my father, and I called him up and I just said, I'm getting a divorce and it's all your fault, and you know, it's because of you, I'm not able to. And knowing that it really wasn't true, but I needed to unleash on him and let him know what you've done to me. And
you mean I couldn't make this go and I
yeah.
maybe picked the wrong guy and it's because of you? What did he do?
He said nothing, he did nothing, he offered me nothing, and I felt so empty at the end of it. But I knew I had spoken to him for the very last time in my life when I hung up that phone.
And that was the last time. Your life has not been an easy life for years while you were dating. You said that you had relationships with abusive men. One man stole all your jewelry. I mean, you really know how to pick them, didn't you?
I know. If there's a loser in any town,
you would have found him.
I used to find him. It was just my way.
One of these men hit you so hard in the ear that you lost 80% of your hearing in your left ear. Is that true? Was he famous? That means yes. I would love to know who he is, but you probably won't tell me, will you?
No.
After a series of these bad relationships, and after a very unhappy divorce when you thought everything was going to be wonderful, there was a time when you thought of suicide, Halle. Why?
Well, I think I was still using men and my mate to identify who I was. And when that was gone, then I was nothing.
How are you going to do it?
I was going to sit in the car. I went into my garage with my 2 dogs, and I had them in the car, and I was going to asphyxiate myself.
What stopped you?
It's almost like I had a flash of, you know, that good angel and that bad angel on my shoulder, and something was telling me on the right side of my brain, girl, don't do it. Girl, don't do it. Think of your mother. I couldn't do that to her. So I got out.
After several years of being single, you married again last year to R&B singer Eric Benet.
Yeah.
What'd you do different this time?
I took the time to become his friend, get to know him, and also have him get to know me, the real me, not the image of me.
Who was the image?
I think the image is Halle Berry. She does Revlon. You know, life is fabulous for her. She jet sets, she travels, she's an actress. Life is beautiful for her. That's not really who I am. And I gave Eric time to get to know the real me. And I realized that he loved me anyway, the real me.
When you met Eric, he was a single father to a 7-year-old. Her biological mother died.
Yeah.
So you are, in every sense, this child's mother.
Yeah. I'm Mom.
I have to discuss a very sad period in your life. February of 2000, you were involved in what became a very famous automobile accident. A woman was hurt. You said you have no recollection of what happened. Has any of that recollection come back? Is it all still, as you described, a blur?
Absolutely. And that is probably the hardest part about dealing with it, even still, is because those moments are gone. You know, that memory is gone, and I've taken responsibility for a time that I can't even recall, that I can't even remember.
It must have been hard, too, that people thought maybe you were faking it. What do you mean you can't remember?
Yeah.
I should point out that you were severely hit in the head yourself and that you were bleeding. And
yeah, and I had 22 stitches in my forehead, yeah.
How did that accident affect you as you look back?
The first few days after, I was consumed with, what must everybody be thinking? They must think I'm a terrible person. They must think I was doing something bad. It was horrifying, but it profoundly changed me. It was the real start for this evolution of being a woman who really doesn't care anymore what people think about me.
After this accident, you, who had never done a nude scene, did a nude scene in Swordfish.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessary.
Not at all.
Now comes Monsters Ball, where there is perhaps the most graphic and explicit sex scene, and you are certainly nude in that. Now, did this kind of freedom that you talk about enable you to do this, or are you just getting to be a different kind of actress?
It is a result of that freedom, not caring what people would think. The reason I'd really never done nudity before is because I was too worried what people would think about me.
To take off your clothes made you feel what?
Free.
You know, Halle, you have said, will I ever be seen as Halle Berry, actress, or will I always be black first and then an actress? With this Academy Award nomination, have you answered that question for yourself?
Well, I still think, honestly, we're still living in a time where I am still Halle Berry, the black actress first. We're not there today, but I think it's coming.
Your mother is coming with you to the Academy Awards.
Yes.
What does this mean to your mother?
You know, she will be there because this moment is also hers. I think it means as much to her as it does to me.
Is there anything now you'd like to say to your father?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Do you want him to watch you that night? This night?
I suppose that would be good. That would be nice.
But not to talk to him.
No.
The husband, the child, the career. Do you have it all?
I sure feel like I do. 2 years ago, when I was going through that accident, I would have never dreamed that I'd be, you know, at the pinnacle of my career, you know? So it's just a tribute to perseverance and always knowing that tough times don't last for long. I feel really happy in my life now, and I think that's having it all, being really happy. And I'm happy now.
Thank you, Halle.
Thank you. And no tears!
Ah, you almost did. You almost did at the end.